Hello, and welcome to the Consider Your Mind podcast. I'm your host, Eric King, and along with my co host, Mino Pachan, we're here to talk about all things mental health. Let's get into it.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to the City Your Mind podcast. We're on episode number 9.
Nine, we
Oh,
almost double digits, man. That's crazy.
that's crazy how times we started at like 2 months ago now, just about. Time's been
Mm-hmm.
flying, man. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
guys, thank you for tuning in. Last week we had a returning guest, a good friend of ours, Stephen Moore of moreawareness.com.
That's
He
the
was on
fam.
episode 8, and we just pretty much continue our conversation with addiction and
Mm-hmm.
what that journey was like for him and how it could relate to other people that are struggling with addiction as well. So if you missed that episode, go ahead and tune on in and check
Bless
it out.
yourself. Bless yourself. Go check that out, man. Basically an extension of how we started off the podcast, talking about the beginning. He was our first guest, kicked us off right. And that was our shortest show. So I was like, yeah, I got to have you back, give you a little bit more time to explain your journey. And I think, yeah, man, people will be blessed by it. It kind of continues the theme of what we've been talking about these last few episodes. So that
Definitely.
was he's able to make a pretty heavy subject of addiction, alcoholism, all that stuff, and but again, do it with a smile, like do it like in a hopeful type of way. So that blessed me and encouraged me. So I know it'll do it for y'all. But today, we're gonna continue on the theme of serious topics. Not serious as in oh man, such a downer, but as serious as in hey, this is real stuff, and we all deal with it, man. And that is the F word.
Mm.
Not that F word. See, I know your mind's went. This is a clean show. This is a family show.
Mm.
But that F word is failure. It's not a
Mm.
four-letter word. But that
Failure.
that F word of failure is something that affects us all. And sometimes the profanity is easier.
Yes, yes, that's true.
It's true, man. Definitely. But as before we kick off everything, we just want to thank our sponsor for the show. This episode of the Consider Your Mind podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. For listeners who are new and may not know, Consider Your Mind started with my own personal mental health journey that began with me seeking the help of a therapist. So, BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. And as a special offer to Consider Your Mind listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/consider your mind. That's betterhelp.com/consider your mind. Now back to the show. So this F word, man. You ever use that F word? You
Mm.
know,
Many times, many
this
times.
this, this other one. Yeah.
Oh,
You've
man,
encountered this in your own personal life, my brother?
many times. Too many times, unfortunately. But hey,
Mm.
it makes you who you are today, man. I'm
Hmm.
still here, I'm still breathing, and I'm still trucking along, man.
There you go, man. Because I heard one of the things I heard many years ago. I don't know who said it, but they're a wise person that said failure is never final. You know what I'm
That
saying?
is
It's
true.
only final when you really give up. So just because you fail doesn't mean that's the end of it. Continuing with the theme of every show, man, you really control the narrative of your life. And if it ends on failure, that's on you. It
Yes.
doesn't have to end there. I was in grad school, and I tell people this all the time, man. I was in school. Some people graduated summa cum laude, magna cum laude. I graduated thank the laude. You feel me? I was not, Mister Academic, but one thing that I did was I didn't give up. I remember going into a test, literally knowing I was about to flunk this thing. It was one of them quantitative classes. Was not good at it, and it was one of the hard classes too. And I was going into the thing. Literally, right after I got done with the test, I went and signed up for the class again next semester because it was a requirement. And I knew that's what I'm saying. I'm familiar with this failure thing, people. That was me in grad school. You know what? Knowing I'm about to go ahead and take this test, and it's not gonna go well for you. This story is not gonna end well for the black guy. And but knowing I wasn't afraid of it. That wasn't the end of it for me. That wasn't gonna stop me from getting my degree. Went ahead, took it a different same class with a different professor, gave it another shot, and hey, we're here
At
today.
first you don't
So
succeed.
try again. It's
Mm.
very simple, man. We all know these things, but um that's the rose colored glasses of it. I can tell you about the time I didn't give up in grad school when I got here. But there's some times I definitely accepted that F word. Did a little bit too much accepting of it instead of fighting through.
Mm.
Uh,
it is a different feeling when you go into something like you said, taking your test, and you already knew that this is not going to go too well for me. But that's a
Oh,
different type of failure. You're accepting it, but you're kind of looking at it in a positive light because you know
yeah.
you can give it another go. You know that's what you're
Mhm.
about to do. So
Mhm.
that kind of failure is it's easy to roll with the punches when that happens.
Mhm.
The failure that's hard is when you put everything into it.
Mm.
Your time, your effort, blood, sweat, and tears. Put everything that you got into it, 110%, and come up short.
Dang,
You know.
that extra 10, that's what makes it hurt worse. When you put
Oh man.
110 on it, that's when you
Man,
got nothing left when it don't work out.
failure is always demoralizing and upsetting. It's a very
Mm.
upsetting experience. But
Mm.
folks, we all know it's not about how you fall, it's how you get back up, right?
There you go.
And how many times you gotta get up, it doesn't matter as long as you just get up. Get up
Mhm.
and go at it again.
Mhm.
And I've failed many times in my life. One of them, my biggest failure to me was when I got cut from varsity.
Ooh,
I,
hold on. Before we go any further, again, there's always a guy show. We got to bring up sports. And here's the thing: for people that don't know, we're about to get into this story. Getting cut from a team really, really hurts. Okay, I don't care what sport you're in. All right, if you really love that sport, if that's what you've dedicated, like it's a part of you. And as you said, man, you just mentioned it. I was able to. I knew there was another class coming up. There was another professor. I had another shot at this right afterwards. What's
Mhm.
so bogus about sports and what hurts about it so much is it is so final. At least for
Yeah.
that season, you got to
Oh,
wait a whole nother year to go back. If that's possible, if you're not, your senior year or something like that. Um,
yeah.
so go ahead, man. Continue. Cause I'm about to cry for you on this one.
Right. So anyone that knows me, my whole life growing up was soccer. Ever since I was a kid, soccer has been my sport. Played with older people all my life, so I was always a couple, I guess you could say, skill levels ahead of people in my age group. So I was
Hmm.
on the upper tier, and that was my life. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to play professional, hefty goals, but
You know.
there's something that was there because I knew I was good when I realized everyone around me at my age couldn't do the things I was doing. And as I got older, I remember making my first team at junior high. It was the best feeling in the world. You put in this work, put in the, training hours and everything like that, and learning the game, learning your craft, and then I make a ninth grade team as a seventh grader. It's awesome,
Nice.
you know. And then as it built, I got better. You know, next year I come back as an eighth grader. I'm the captain of the freshman. We
Mm.
go on and
Yeah.
do things, and the coaches would tell me, varsity's gonna be your spot. If you keep this up, everything is ready, set to go. I'm like,
Yeah.
all
You
right, cool.
saw the vision.
Yeah. And then come to my knowledge at my high school, it's 10th through 12th. So junior high for us was 7th through ninth. Our rival school was Egan. I was a Burnsville kid, black and yellow. Shout out Burnsville, home of the Blaze. Let's go. Even though I graduated from Egan, but it's
Hey,
so
man, street ties. You feel me?
so when the time comes, I was like, "All right, I'm excited. I'm gonna have my shot to actually go and try out for varsity and everything." I find out that I'm moving to the rival school.
Mm.
Dreams crushed. I'm like, no, there's no way I'm going to Egan. I don't know anybody there. I was looking forward to going to high school with my, friends that I made since elementary and
Hmm.
graduate together, all that, build those memories. But no, I go to a rival school that I didn't know nobody. And on top of that, I go try it out, and they knew that I was coming. They knew who I was, and I got kept in the 10th grade team.
Hmm.
So I'm like, all right, maybe I just gotta prove myself a little harder, but I don't know anybody. No politicking for me,
The
and this is
politics of
rival
it,
school.
yes, definitely.
So next year comes, I worked hard all off season, everything like that, and then I'm like, all right, cool. I got hurt in the middle of the summer, but that didn't slow me down. But that's
Hmm.
besides the point. I get to try out. Coach's son is on the team, and his best friend is also playing the same position as me, and he's been playing with these guys since they were young.
Hmm.
So they're
He's a
gonna get
goalie. You're a goalie,
yeah,
right? You were a goalie
yep,
at the time. Yeah.
yep. When I was a goalie, he's same age as me. He's gonna get starting over me, even if I make the varsity. I'm
Mm.
gonna be on backup. Doesn't matter.
Coach's son.
Yeah,
Oh.
lose lose situation. Anyways, I remember the last day of practice. It didn't go so well for me, and in front of everyone, they started cutting people. It was cutting day, and he comes up to me, is like, thank you for your time, but unfortunately, you didn't make the team. And I remember just looking at him like I was like, I just let it all out, man. It's like again, from like 6 years old to about this time, I was about
Mm.
16,
16,
17,
yeah, 10
over
years of your
10
life.
years. And I was like, man, he's gonna take this away from me too. Like that, it's like, no, that's messed up. I'm better than the goalie here. I put in the work, man. Like I was like, man. So I cussed them out, and I've never cried on the field and everything. I threw the bag that I had with like everything. I just threw it away. Like it was just the end for me. Like I've never. It's weird because it's like this is what I've always wanted, and here it is.
Mm-hmm.
And now because of certain things that weren't out of my control, I get cut. Not even allowing me to play on like a JV or anything. Just completely cut. Done. You're done.
Mm-hmm.
The junior. And I was like, man, everything that I worked for to get to this point, maybe I didn't work hard enough. Maybe, this and that. But
Yeah, you start
I'm
doubting yourself.
I started doubting myself and it messed with me, man. And it's like, but later to find out that it was because they didn't like me and they
Mm-hmm.
knew that I was a Burnsville kid. I didn't get my
Politics, man.
I didn't get my fair shot. So that hurt even more. I mean, what made me mad and upset about is that during those times that, for like a year, I was doubting myself
Mm-hmm.
when really I was just given a fair chance. So that made me even more
Yeah.
angry, to
No, that's even worse because again, when you feel like it's literally just been taken from you,
yeah,
because again, it's a multitude of things. The politics of it, you're from the rival school, so the kids on the team don't necessarily like you. You don't have those connections. And then the coach's son is playing your position. I know somebody out there is feeling us on this one because I was like, that happens so much where, the favoritism, the politics, and then it's not necessarily always about your skill, when that's taken away from you. And when it's supposed to be a merit-based thing, that's the thing about sports. It's supposed it gives us hope. Like, hey, if I do the work, I put in the hard work, if I can score the points, if I can, do this, then I should be selected. And when it doesn't go like that, there's other factors involved. Man, it hurts.
yeah. I
That
mean, I mean, it's so long ago, and to when it comes
yeah.
to like people said, "Oh, this because this and that," and they said this. I mean, who knows? It might not have been true. Maybe I just wasn't playing up to par. But someone
Mhm.
else is just, in my ear or whatever, trying to boot me up or whatever the case may be. But still doesn't
Yeah,
change
make
the
you
fact
feel
that that's
better.
what
Yeah.
happened. Yeah. Still doesn't change the fact that I came up short,
Hmm.
and I have no one else to blame. I could blame the coach, I could blame whatever, but realistically, I just look at it from my own point of view is that I just wasn't good enough.
Hmm.
After all those years, just wasn't good enough to make.
That's
And
that's the
it stuck.
narrative you tell yourself. The coping, when you have to make it make sense to you. Like I said
Yeah.
in the previous episode, cognitive dissonance. You have to again, something's got to square. And so, yeah, and it's unfortunate because it's not like again, like you have to wait a whole nother year just to try out if you want to. And again, what are the odds really? So that's why again, people that know, of course, Michael Jordan. Everybody knows who Michael Jordan is.
Oh man.
Yeah, but that whole thing about him being cut from his, team his sophomore year of high school, because again, if you're really good, as you said, your sophomore year is you skip kind of sophomore, you go straight to varsity, if you're really that guy. And so when he didn't, make it, that's what they're talking about. His sophomore year, he didn't make the varsity team, and literally had to go ahead all the way over a year, had to wait a whole another year to go ahead and get his shot and play like a regular person, junior, and senior years. But those times are so critical. And that's when what, you're 15, 16 years
Yeah.
old.
It's
And such decisions, such massive things and directions can change your life
And you're
that
emotional
quickly.
at that stage, your hormones going
Mm-hmm.
crazy. You get very highs and then you get very lows.
Yeah.
It's just it's a crazy emotional roller coaster ride during those
Mm-hmm.
times. And failure just is not the icing on the cake that you want.
No.
But there's always ways to look at failure too. It can be obviously the best healthy ways to go about it positive. What are you going to learn from it? You got to learn something from it. You failed, you know. And it takes, a good hard look at yourself in the mirror and be like, yo, all right, this didn't work last time. What went wrong? And really dissect the issue and really work at it. No matter what you do, you fail, you just gotta keep trying, man.
Mm-hmm. No,
Fail is
it's
gonna
not
teach you
failure's not
lessons.
final. Failure is not final.
uh, And it's like fail trains you to be a stronger person too. Put in hard work and effort every single day and hopes to achieve an outcome that you've been craving for. You just want it. So yeah, and they also say hard work pays. So
Yeah, it does, but not always in the way that you think, or like not
mhm,
in that thing. Because there's a lesson that you can take from that, that maybe you can take from that, but that you can apply to another area in your life. Learning how to deal with adversity. Because to your point, if you're one of those people with nothing ever, you know, you always were the golden child or something like that, and got what you wanted, never had adversity. Like you don't really develop character, and then when something does happen to you, it destroys you. You know, those people that just go off the deep end. One thing happens to them, and they just can't go on. As opposed to other people have taken, some L's, taken some losses in their life, and they've seen themselves still be alive, still wake up the next day, still be able to, function. That's in the memory banks, as opposed to somebody who, again, is success after success, and all of a sudden they don't know what to do when they fail. You know, it's real stuff.
Taking L's doesn't have to be a bad thing, people.
Mhm.
Take it as ways to
Uh,
learn yourself,
Yeah, there you go. That's the other L. Learning, not just loss. Learning lessons. You feel me? Those are the L's. That's how we need to be storing those. Change the language of it in a sense.
Yes. And some of the things I've done, that may help some people that's going through that right now is, ways to overcome failure in your life. And, you can't be threatened by failure. You have to know that that's a possibility. No matter what you do, it's always a possibility that something's not going to go according to plan, you know. And then there's nothing wrong with failing. That gives you a chance to study yourself, look forward to the next thing, what you can do, tasks, follow a routine. That's what we talked about last episode as well. That's having a routine to keep you grounded. That's your base, and just know that you could always come up on top. You just got to keep putting in the work.
hmm No, and then again, it's about what you believe about yourself. You think you are a failure. Now, there's a difference between failing and being a failure. That's all the difference in the world.
Mm.
Between hey, I'm going through it or it's over. you know. And you know which side we on over here. It's not over. We just going through it. We're not failures. We just fail sometimes. Actually, one of the things that inspired me to do this, my buddy, he sent me a video of a lady that he actually knows from his church, and she actually did a TED talk on failure years ago. Her name's Cheryl Lentz, Lentz, and she did basically a whole TED talk, about a year ago about the science of the F word. No one wants to talk about failure. It's on, YouTube. Um, and like it was really interesting because her experience was being a part of a music, transitioning from sports. She was a music, major. That was her life was music, piano and organ. And her thing was, she was in the program for a couple years, highly competitive program. And then one day, again, just like the coach, can just sat you down one day, like it's nothing. Really come out their lips. Hey, we appreciate you being in this program, giving your time and all that. But this is as far as you go, And she was cut from the team, cut from her program. She'd been doing that her whole life. Music it had been her first love. People who are music majors. They know kind of how serious it is. And um, so the thing is, like, instead of that was kind of the end of it for her. She said she never played again. It's been 30 years. Her whole TED talk was about picking up, a like a piano again and playing again. And so she hadn't done that for 30 years. Um, but
Doesn't play it
and
again
it
for
defined
30 years?
all based on what that professor told her. She was cut from the program, and she took that as meaning that she was a failure. That part of her life was over. She had a whole new direction. You know, academically, she's a doctor and stuff like that, a professor. And so, but what that does, again, she internalized it. And again, it cost her so much physically. It's affecting her health, all that stress, all that blocking out, and denying what her real passion and love was. It debilitated her. So she went through a couple divorces.
Wow.
She went through all these things in her life and it was actually covering up from the fact that she had let what somebody told her 30 years ago that um that got into her brain that she was a failure. That not that she couldn't transfer to another program, she could have gone to somewhere else, but no, she internalized it, and it really changed the course of her life, and it's taken it again 30 years
Critically.
to go
And
ahead and
and it seems
rekindle that
that
love for her.
affected her more than just her professional career. It even leaked into her personal life,
Hmm.
divorces, and you know, and again, people, that goes to show, man, when you really talking down on someone, just think of what it can do to them. You know, that's why it should be important to build each other up instead of breaking each other down.
Hmm. No, because again, sometimes and some people are more resilient than others. Again, based on background, based on whatever it is. So you may be saying to yourself, "Dang man, why didn't she just bump that professor? Go transfer to another team. You got cut, da da da." However, man, at that time, um, that's we don't always make the best decisions. She has a great thing that she says in her TED talk, which is they tell you after surgeries, after major surgery, don't make any like life decisions after a major surgery, after a major, event in your life, traumatic event, basically, after a trauma, don't make any major life decisions. And as she said, that's the mistake that she made. After this trauma, she decided that was the end of her music life, just like that.
So her
You
mindset completely flipped around her wanting to follow her passion.
hmm Yeah, she thought she, wasn't good enough or wasn't maybe worthy enough of it. Now, again, reflecting on it now, she has another video that she put out this Valentine's Day talking about, actually stepping on the organ for the first time since then, and
Mm,
still having, as she put it, man, I still got game. Like, still had some of the muscle memory because she did it all the way up until this is college. So this is her whole started young. If you played piano and music, usually those people start very young and do it as their life. Now she's in her early 20s and this happens to her. And so a lot of those muscle memory, those mechanics, those basics the groundwork she laid, she just buried it for so long, but it was still there. And then, it felt so good, she said, to actually go ahead and put on her organ shoes, get on there and make the sounds again. And again, as she said, it still had game. And that did something for her, that's life fuel.
kind of
You
resparked
know,
her passion, huh?
there you go. After 30 years.
That's
You
wild.
know? Exactly. She had put that part of herself, denied it and sealed it away, but it manifested itself in other ways in her life. And now she's reflecting, back on it. And again, this is a person, by all accounts, is successful now.
Right.
She's a, educated woman, a professional woman. Um,
What
but
was her
that
name
doesn't
again?
mean
Cheryl.
Cheryl Lynch.
Cheryl
Lentz, sorry, Lentz.
Lynch.
L-E, yep, Lentz. And so yeah, she has a TED talk and she has a channel as well, Dr. Cheryl Lentz. Um, so that was, but again, it just inspired me. Like, wow, man, um, somebody that didn't let that failure be the end of it for real. You know, because it's the easiest thing after that. Again, after 30 years, to say, man, it's too late. It's over. It's too late. It's still denying it. And that would not help her. That wouldn't give her the joy and the passion that she needs to go ahead and live life. And when we're denying ourselves and we're denying who we really are, what we really want, what our passions are, and we aren't living in that, it's not that it'll just make you a grumpy person, man. It can affect you physically. Like I said, the woman had many ailments, pretty debilitating, actually. And all of a sudden, once she made the decision to, again, not now living life healthy, once she, came to terms with what she was, um, again, as she says, going back to her first love, bang, the mind could heal and then the body could heal as well. That stress, she talks about a little bit too, that cortisol that's released, that stress hormone, it really, it causes damage internally into our bodies that we don't see. We just think everything's fine. We just think we're getting sick. We just think we're, getting old. We just think all this stuff. But no, there's a there. It's coming from somewhere. And it's coming from somewhere. Again, you got to consider your mind. Literally.
I mean, it's all pretty much comes down to having, I guess you say, the right mindset. Again,
Hmm
even though she quit and gave up on her, I guess you say, passion for 30 years, it still found a way to find a way back to her. You know what I mean? Like if it's something you love, just don't let it. I mean, I don't know. She just had the right people around her, give her the support, maybe give her a little spark, a little nudge to be like, hey, why don't you just play it? Just hop on the piano, whatever she was playing, and just see where it goes. And it's like having that right mindset to even get up or give it a try again. I think that's one of the biggest obstacles to come over when you fail at something is to having that want to do it again because you don't know if you're going to succeed this time or if you're just going to fail again and everything like that. So I don't know, man. It's failure. It comes down to mindset, guys. I mean, surround yourself with good people. You'll be all right and have the right mindset, knowing that you can do it, knowing that failure is part of life, it's part of the process. and you'll be able to get over it and fight through it.
Yeah, and taking those opportunities, because to her credit, she said, somebody had a piano they were kind of getting rid of, and so needed someone to take it, and so she took that opportunity to go ahead and um, use it. She could have just let that pass them on by. But when life presents you with other opportunities to go ahead and fulfill those things, wrong those rights in a sense. You have to have it within you to go ahead and take those opportunities. And so you have to believe that you aren't a failure, literally. You have to believe that you're worth it. One thing that I mentioned last show, and I had to get it in there because I had just watched the video, and and I really loved how she said it. You got to give yourself compassion to try,
Mm.
you know? Got to give yourself compassion. Because a lot of times we get so mad at ourselves. Man, why didn't I fight harder? Man, why did I give up? Man, why? Da, da, da. We start, man, we get so mad at ourselves, and when we would tell other people, hey, man, don't be so hard on yourself. Hey, get back out there. We can be so encouraging to other people. But when it comes to ourselves, though,
We're the worst critics.
yeah, we're the worst critics, man. And
Yeah,
so again, you got to
mindset.
have compassion. You got to give yourself the compassion to go ahead and try. And I think, in a sense, and I hadn't thought about it until just now as we're speaking on it, but I guess this is, in a sense, this podcast. Like I said, came from a media background, wanted to be in the journalism, space and all that, interviews, and so this is one of those attempts, I guess. I gave myself, all right, well, that didn't work out necessarily how I wanted to. It's still there, but I don't really necessarily know how to do it. But when the opportunity kind of came, when I had a buddy to say, hey, man, we could do this thing, we could do a podcast. I was like, all my old media stuff. I was like, okay, I had to really believe in myself, like, all right, man, that didn't necessarily work out, but this could still. Why didn't that work out? Because da, da, da. It wasn't, I didn't tell myself, man, it's because you're a bad journalist, bro. It's because you're not good at this. You don't got no interview skills, man. What are you talking about? No, that's not what I believed about myself. And so when the opportunities, when you have those things to kind of go ahead and maybe it's not exactly the same. I mean, the woman had, probably dreams of playing in concert halls, being a professional musician, all this stuff. But now, hey man, she has the opportunity to play in church, still
Mhm.
has the opportunity to play in front of people, serve the Lord with her gifts. And so, hey man, I'm not on CNN. I am not the straight Don Lemon. All right. I'm not on TV every day, but I do have a platform. I do have
Yeah,
something, you know.
yeah,
And it depends on your mindset. Again, it could you can have the mindset it's never good enough. Well, if I can't have that, well then it don't count. If I can't have that, well then it don't count. It's
with
just,
some,
again, those things are that we put those internal barriers to limit ourselves when we don't have to do that.
yeah. I mean, failure. It feels like, at least in my experience, I know I say I failed at a lot of things, but to me, even though I failed at things that I tried, at least I could walk away saying that I gave it a shot. It's you gotta find lessons in all these things that you failed at, and what can you do better? Is it for you? Maybe it's not, but it lets you learn who you are.
Mm,
You know what
that's
I
a
mean?
great point. It lets you learn who you are.
And it's like, well, I maybe I shouldn't do that because I physically can't, but I tried. That's
Mm-hmm.
definitely not for me, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But maybe this is, I have a lot of experience that I like to share. So maybe this is a good avenue for me to get in and start a podcast and, let my story be heard and hopefully hear other people's struggles that, could help me be like, oh, they're going through the same thing I did. What did they do to cope with it? When I learn
Mm-hmm.
something from them, they can learn something from me. And I don't have to worry about, I guess you say, too much negativity around it because it's mental health. It's
We're
everyone deals
trying.
with it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm putting myself out there and, I personally don't care what people think. They say, oh, why are you telling your story, this and that? That is my story and I want to tell it. Like when I'm
That's
when
it.
I'm done here, at least there's something of me that maybe my future cousin could look up and say, oh, I had a cousin did podcast. There's his voice.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he did. That's awesome. Like there's a piece of me that I know is gonna be out there now. And,
Mm-hmm.
for my family members down the line, and if you believe in reincarnation, what if I come back in the year 3020 and I hear my voice like, hey, I know that guy, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who knows? It's a
Mm-hmm.
possibility. You can't tell me that it can't happen.
Hey, we don't know. Hey, we don't. To tell you the truth, none of us know. Okay. We have great speculations, we have beliefs and all that stuff, but none of us would truly know that. But that's a good mindset to have, man. Hey, man, doing something. You can't you got to multiply from, and again, media is very powerful. Again, but you got to multiply. You can't multiply from zero.
Mm,
Just because something isn't working doesn't give you an excuse not to work. You
that's
just got to figure out what you can be working on, what you can be working at. So, um, I hate a defeatist attitude. That is something I really truly despise. I use the H word, but I'm gonna use the despise. I despise defeatist attitude. There's nothing I can do. Can't do that. Like that's one of the things I just hate to hear. Too late. Can't do it. Can't do it. Like, what you mean? You feel me? Like I can't do that. Like, I really just don't like that language. Even when I use it, I be despising myself. You feel me? Like
mm.
I got to check
It's that
myself every once in a while.
that
No.
can't do attitude ain't gonna
Yeah,
get
the
you
can't.
nowhere.
No, no, no. You gotta have a can do attitude. What is it? Are you an African or an African? There you go.
At
But
least give it the I try.
hmm
You know what I
give
mean?
yourself compassion to try.
I remember being an assistant branch manager at one point, and I would always ask somebody, be like, "Hey, man, you don't get the sale. It's okay. Just, just try. Just give
Hmm.
me a little effort. That's it. Just at least give me the effort to try.
Keep
That's
shooting.
that's it. Just
Hmm.
try. Try.
Hmm. We come up under again, shout out to the, basketball season. All-Star game came and they had the 75 greatest players and all that. And one of them for sure, man, was so dope to see Allen Iverson. AI, man.
Yeah, I do
That's
say
now
that.
people, everybody again want to be like Mike. Man, we want to be like AI. Let's tell the truth, bro. Like we grew up in my generation. Even LeBron says that with the sleeve and everything. He was like, yo, we
Oh,
wanted to be like Mike, but no,
oh,
we really wanted to be like AI.
yes.
Allen Iverson. And he was known for, again, shooting. He was known for scoring. He was
Also,
not
that
known for
sleeve.
shooting a great, yeah, exactly. He was not known for shooting a great shooting percentage.
You know why he wore that sleeve? Because he had elbow injury,
Okay.
and he
Maybe. Yeah, there
wanted
you go. And then it
yeah,
caught
and he
on.
wanted something that could protect his elbow a little bit, so they
Mhm.
made the sleeve with the padding on. He
Mhm.
wore it, but instead of just putting on the elbow, he just turned it into a full sleeve, and
Mhm.
the rest is history.
There you go. Just little things. Again, now you see how many people are, influenced with that. Not to mention the
Every
grades.
sport, every sport,
All of them, exactly. It's
they wear.
universal, that influence. But I think I kind of grew up with that mentality though of, speaking of sales when I was doing it with you, keep shooting. You know what? You may miss. That was the whole legend of it, man. He may miss 20 shots in a row, but he believes you're gonna make that 21st.
One's gonna stick.
We gon' dang it, we getting in there. I
I
remember
don't care how
and
you
I've
do
taken
it.
that, yes. And I've taken that in my life seriously in sales. I was selling here in St. Louis, I was selling roofs for a hot second. And some again,
Oh man,
another
that's
thing that didn't go well. All right, was not great at it. But in those couple butts that I did end up selling a roof, man. I
you
just
got
kept
one.
shooting. I got one. I said that as I was leaving, as I was going to, my next job and everything. I said, hey, this didn't work out. But yo, I didn't blank though. You can't say
Yeah,
I did
I
end up
forgot
selling
who
one
said
roof, bro.
this, but it was like all I need is one yes.
Mhm.
I could have 1,000 no's,
Mhm.
but that one yes is gonna make it work.
Mhm. And that's the truth, man. And again, maybe we just got good at either maybe we had an acumen for the sales world or maybe that taught us that or something like that. But I think that's something that I've taken from that period of time, and just applied it to my life. Same thing with the getting back up. I remember Dwayne Wade, another great basketball player. He had a commercial that was like about him falling all the time, about him always hitting the deck. Every game, it seemed like the man was always falling down, getting knocked down. And it talked about him. He's like, get knocked down 1,000 times, get up 1,001. Then it shows, again, it was an inspirational commercial. It shows him keep getting up, keep getting up. He even got teammates helping him up. The point is, you don't stay down. Now, I think he eventually paid for that when the knees went out on him. His career didn't last quite as long as it could have. But the point is, he was a great player, and but because he kept getting up, getting playing through injuries, playing through when it's not going so well. um that's when you have to again have that belief in yourself. And that F word is going to come too. Oh my goodness. Like it's impossible to fail. I don't care. I don't even care if you're the best looking man on the planet. You are freaking Thor, okay? You deal with rejection. Okay, some some girls said no to you. We can view that as failure. Unless you're with the person, your first girlfriend or boyfriend, and y'all happily married and forever and ever, amen. Then dang it, you've had some failed relationships. All right. Like
Oh
we've
yeah.
all dealt with this stuff.
If you're single,
But it's
it's most likely a fail.
oh no, you didn't. No, don't say that. Do not say that. I
Nah,
do not
I
endorse
take
that.
I take that back. That's just for my life.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what
See,
I'm saying? I so it's like rejection ain't no thing to me. I get rejected left and right. I could
yeah,
care
no,
less.
we out here. We shooting
I'll
AI, baby.
yeah, I'll shoot my shot. One of them's gonna stick eventually.
Hmm.
But
Nah,
right for right now, it's cool.
uh-huh.
Cool.
There you go. Exactly. Us single people are not failures. We just be failing sometimes. We're
In my
currently
case,
not. We're just currently not on the success streak. Shout out to the
in my
success
case,
streak
and
that will come.
that's why I'm on the podcast on mental health, man. I have a lot of anxiety and depression. It gets deep. And you
Hmm.
guys already know some of my stories in my past relationships. Some of the things be like a movie, I swear. And it's
Mm.
like it's it got to the point where now it's like I just really don't care. I mean, I'm happy with
There you go.
myself now. I've worked mentally. Every girl that that I've dated, some were good and ended just mutually, which is fine. Some of them didn't end so well.
Mhm.
And it is what it is. It lets me know what kind of person I don't want to be with.
Man, and you know what? Again, I'm not gonna fall into the G.I. Joe fallacy. Shout out to hypnotherapist Rupert Missick, firstlightcounseling.com.au. Don't fall into the G.I. Joe fallacy. Knowing is not half the battle. No, simply knowing is not half the battle. But dang it is something. It's a start. So knowing what you don't want in a relationship, knowing who you don't want to be with, noticing some patterns like that can definitely benefit you. But again, theme of the show, man. My title that the title of this show, the compassion to try, or something like that, because that's what's your reaction to that? Do all bec- just for example. Now, it's one thing, for sports. It's one thing for sports. It's one thing, the limited amount of time and whatever. All right, well, hey, man, forget like people in the Olympics. Some people that don't make it on the Olympics, Summer Olympic team. I think it was one lady, bam, she went over to the Winter Olympics, got on the bobsled team, got herself a medal like that can transfer to other areas. She didn't say, screw sports, period, screw athleticism. Get that. No. Got back on that horse, got it in another area. But when it comes to relationships, again, it's just speaking, from the heterosexual perspective, it's not like we could just fail and all of a sudden we fail with in a relationship with a woman or something, and then just dismiss all women. Now all women are bad. It doesn't really work like that.
No,
Like you can't get mad at a whole gender or a whole population or a whole such and such. I mean, that is one way to react to it. I mean, that's just an unhealthy way. Somebody does something that you don't like or did something to you, and all of a sudden that whole group of people ain't this. You
right.
know, it's
Well,
like like
as as men, we hear
no,
that all the time. Oh,
yeah,
all
don't
you
do that.
guys are the same.
Yeah,
All
don't.
men are dogs. I could say the same thing about women in my
You
experience.
know exactly,
Let's
but it's
just
not
say,
healthy.
let's just say that even the nicest guy get dogged on the most. They're the
Mhm.
guy that the girl should be with. But they get like, I wish my
Yeah,
boyfriend
that's
was
the
like you.
stereotype. Yeah.
La da da. I'm like, man, there's no good men left. Okay. And okay, this is clip I just saw. Back to TikTok. I was bored
Oh my good
scrolling.
TikTok boy.
This guy scrolls up. He rolls up to a woman. She's clearly on the phone. She's parked. He rolls down his window. He goes, "Excuse me, ma'am." This girl puts down her phone, looks at him with the stank face. But like, I got a boyfriend. And he's like, "That's great, but I just want to tell you that your tire is flat." And she looks down. He's like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry. Can you help me?" He's like, "Get your effing boyfriend to help you." And he drives off. And
Yo, I wish
that's how it is.
that's a good one.
That's how like it's unfortunate, but it's like dang. But then I'm thinking of like, well, what has guys done for girls to react like that
Man, the
openly?
thirst is real out here.
Oh yeah.
I
But
have a
then
lot of sympathy
again,
for
it's
you
kind
ladies,
of
bro.
like
Believe me.
not. And then again, not all guys are just out there trying to holler and get your number.
Hmm.
Sometimes they just want
Nah,
general
yeah, all
conversation
y'all ain't that
in
cute.
space.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry about that, ladies. All y'all are not that dang
Sorry,
cute.
not sorry.
But, but
But
no,
yeah, no, listen.
everybody. That,
I
but
saw that
again,
clip. I saw the clip and that made my day. Oh
that
man.
was that's funny though. Yeah,
Oh
that's great, man. But you're tired. You feel what I'm saying? A
yeah.
humbling. They got this one thing on there too, man. Tangent, but it has me cracking up every time. Somebody will say something, boom, boom, and they take an L like that, and then right after that, there has this Asian dude that pops up, emotional damage, bro.
Yo.
Every time,
Oh my
it
god.
just
I'm dead.
I can't do it.
First time I heard that, I feel like
Emotional damage.
it's iconic, dude.
I was
Oh,
like, see, that's the stuff. We're trying to be the opposite of that. But this stuff is funny, man. We are a positive show. We don't try to get messy, throw people under the bus, make fun of them. None of that. We try. But
it's
oh my
true.
goodness, we're the only ones. The rest of social media and the internet is undefeated, man.
Oh,
The
and
internet is
yo.
too undefeated, man. So that's another reason, bringing it back full circle. Yo, man, you can't let this internet, scare you
And I gotta
either. All
say,
of a sudden, you just take an L on the internet, it's out there, it goes viral, and then you think it's over for you. Like, you have to really be, armored up out here.
some people, the jokesters. If you have to say, "Is it too early?" It's too early.
I don't know who needed to hear that, but
Yo, I saw. Okay, so oh man, this dark humor stuff on TikTok's got me dead. The girl says, "My mother passed away a week ago," and she's crying, and someone duetted the video,
hmm.
and she goes, "I just wish I could talk to her. We could just pretend to be my mom." And this dude is laying on the ground dead. I'm like, wow.
Damn.
Yeah,
Some
I'm like,
point to talk. See, yeah,
yeah.
people ain't
I
right.
was like, yo, I laughed. It wasn't like a laugh, ha. It was it was like a little,
Oh,
yeah,
oh, oh,
oh, yeah,
oh.
like, do you know how someone says something and room just is quiet?
Like, oh,
It was one, like, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's
I was like,
it's
ooh,
not right. Again, this stuff, man. You have to be armored up out here. Get your again therapy. This is why again, therapy is sponsoring this dang show.
I had to put my phone
Because
down and
man,
walk out of my room. I was like, oh man,
I
that was
just want you
wild.
can't. Like you can I can't, man. I need to unfollow the shade room, all of that stuff because it's like, man, I'm sitting here laughing at people I need to be praying for, man. This is wrong. This is so not right.
Or those quick clips to get you if you laugh, you go to hell. And there's like messed up there. You're like, wow, but you laugh. It's like, oh man,
But no, man. Luckily, we were born in a time where we were. So I'm so glad we didn't have camera phones. When I was in college. Even in high school. But had a little bit in college, but it really wasn't a thing where everybody had a good camera phone, HD, of your
yo,
of your of you messing up. You know what I'm saying? It can go everywhere. I remember back then it was just Facebook really. If there was an embarrassing picture of you, you know what I'm saying, you holding a beer bottle in your hand or something like
mm,
that, you grinding up on somebody at a party. It was one place that was gonna be shared
right,
at. Just with us that knew about it, and you can get that taken down. There was no such thing really as going viral,
yeah. I
you
mean, the
know.
camera phones is crazy nowadays. It's literally it's unfortunate. Like you see something happen out, just out and about. The first thing people do is pull out their phone and record it instead of calling for help or checking on that person or
Hmm.
stopping that lady from being attacked. What they do, pull out their phones. Oh, world star, la da da da. Man,
Yeah,
shut
yeah,
up. Put your
man.
phone down. Go
That was
help that
toxic.
person, man. Like, what are you doing?
Hmm.
Like, I mean,
Hmm.
at
But
least
it's
call 911. Something. Call for help. Something.
do
You
something.
know.
It's gone too far. We used to say, "Hey man, I'm gonna help you after I laugh at you. I'm gonna laugh at you. Once you make sure you're
Right.
okay." Now, because stuff is so distant. Maybe it's because it's through the phone, where people don't feel that connected with that person to even think to help them. So, um, the closest we had again, it still goes on. But back then was
Mm.
cyberbullying, when it talked about people
Keyboard
behind
warriors.
keyboards saying anything that they want. Yeah,
Mm.
keyboard warriors, Twitter gangsters, before. But it used to start off just in chat
Yes, the
rooms,
most
and
toxic chat
a
rooms.
kid getting a whole bunch, exactly, getting a whole bunch of chat rooms they ain't got no business in, but
Right.
kind of knew where it was coming from. Again, now you can have a video of you, embarrassing moment, you get knocked out, you
Yep.
taking an L, and now that's over. It's cross
It's
platform.
all over, man.
People can
It's
YouTube it,
literally
they can TikTok it, they can
with
Instagram
technology,
it. They
man.
can.
It's making it easier. Everyone's catching L's. You could sneeze and get caught
Hmm.
looking wrong. Like, oh man, look at this dude. You know,
I like how you said that. Everybody catching L's.
everywhere.
Exactly. In
Yeah.
HD.
I mean, the moment you mess up, do something wrong, sit a certain way, walk a certain way, and someone got a phone out to catch you, like, oh, you're an instant meme before you even get
Hmm.
done finishing a
Immediately.
sentence. Like it's crazy. Just like my boy Jr.
Hmm.
Jr. Smith, NBA player. Mm,
Mm.
the most.
J.R. Smith,
Yo.
man. And J.R. Swish, again, got the memes, the Henny God, this dude going down
Oh
court
man.
shrugging his shoulders, with the bottle of Hennessy in his hand, man. Shout out to the I Am Athlete podcast. He was on there talking about how, like, he doesn't want that to be his legacy because you say he doesn't even
Mm,
drink Hennessy.
that's
You
wild.
feel me?
I didn't know that.
He's like, but it's that, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, what I'm saying? Oh, he's a young brother, with his tattoos, so it's easy to
Fits
kind
the
of put
description,
him off
right?
as dumb.
It's
Exactly,
messed up.
exactly. And for people that don't know, it's like when LeBron and them were in the finals, that last time they were in the finals with the Cavs, he, called that timeout when they
Oh
didn't have it,
man.
I think it was. It kind of messed up at the end of the game. Yep. And all of a sudden you see LeBron, that meme of LeBron like pointing to the,
Like, what you
court,
doing?
what I'm saying? Like with his hands, like, what are you doing? And that just
And
became everywhere.
his
And
facial
like you said,
reaction.
before the game was
His
even
facial
over.
reaction in that his eyes trying to look like
Yes.
me, half closed. I'm like, yo, what?
Mm.
I'm like, oh, that's not a
uh,
good look. I go online and the
see, yeah,
meme's there, and
exactly,
they're still in the
man.
middle of timeout, and I see a meme of it already. Like I'm like, man, game's
Already.
not even over.
It's instant. Don't even get out of the arena
Oh
before it's
man,
already done, man. So I mean, and that's the world we live in. But shout out to him because he came straight out of high school into the league. I went to college actually with some guys he went to high school with. Again, really good private all boys school or whatever. They had other NBA players that came out of there, but they always tried to paint him a
right?
certain way. As again, being uneducated, being kind of a thug, but again, comes from a affluent background, and so now that he's out of the NBA, he's got his money and all that. Now he's going back to college. He's going to a HBCU and is on the
Mm.
golf team. I was like that. You know, again, controlling your own narrative. I give him so much respect and I
He
commend him
didn't
for
give
that
up.
because he's not letting that define
He
him.
didn't give
Yeah,
up
he
at
didn't
all.
give up. He didn't, that that failure, on a big stage in front of everybody in the NBA
He
friggin'
took a big
finals.
L. That was a
You
big
know,
L he took.
like, you know what I'm saying? It really was. But for him to really, say, hey, that's not gonna be the end of me. For him to think about, he said he thinks about his family, how he was raised, and the people that raised him. And again, all of a sudden, his legacy is gonna be, holding a meme with a bottle of
Mm.
Hennessy in it. When that's not even what he drinks.
Right.
He refused to let people to let that be the end of it. To let that be the final narrative about him. He's in control of it, and so that would inspire me, man. Shout out to that brother. For not letting for again not
Yeah.
giving up, believing in yourself and
Having the
knowing who
right
you are,
mindset
and
behind
saying
that.
that's not to have the right
And it's
mindset.
crazy how
Exactly.
the power of media. I didn't even know that about J.R. Smith. That he comes from good family and all that. I didn't know that because the media
Hmm.
portrayed him a certain way that I see, and since I don't know him, I just went with it. Not that it's I'm
Hmm.
sure that's everyone. You see something, and, oh okay, what's said is true, I guess, right? But I don't even know the person. But to find out
Hmm.
that he does come from money, that he's not actually this Hennessy drinking, doped up dude,
Yeah,
and
nothing come from the
whatever. So
streets. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. No.
it's crazy how media can take things and turn. It could
Hmm.
that's why things nowadays is so crazy with cell phones, social media in general. Just things can get put online and it takes on its own
Hmm.
narrative, and you have no
Hmm.
control. That the moment someone has a picture of you, that they do whatever they
Hmm.
want with it.
Exactly. The internet is
It's
undefeated, as they
crazy.
say. The internet truly is undefeated, and so because of that too, I think it has scared a lot of people because again, you have to go through some failures. That means you're trying. You're out
Right.
here trying to do something. You're attempting to do something, and I think it's kind of maybe can scare you into not wanting to do anything, being so reserved, being so closed off. From taking risks, from actually, man, you remember? I think it was the um, one of the first viral videos that went on YouTube or whatever. It was this sister who was a bigger lady singing like a song. She
Hmm.
was singing. I think maybe it was a Jennifer Hudson song or something like that. And she got up on a table. There was like a little table, and she stood up on the table, bro. And I think she took a step forward, and the table
Oh
just
no.
flipped, just her,
Oh no.
boom. As she's singing this too, just oh, and then
Oh.
bow, bro.
Oh.
I remember. And again, she posted. That's what was amazing about it back then. Like, people could post their L's, and it could be kind of be
Yeah,
a funny thing and laugh. But I don't even think we understood how, like, again, going
that's
viral for
crazy.
real when that thing just spread. And so I think it does take a certain amount of confidence. I do see people posting themselves,
Oh yeah,
taking the
yeah,
L's in a sense. For funny factor.
yeah.
There is some silliness, to it. But I think maybe the damage is outweighed the good because I like a good laugh too. Like I said, I need to be praying for people I'm
Mm.
laughing at,
Oh,
man.
yo, I've
This
had okay. So my cousin probably can kill me for this, but one summer he got on the trampoline, right? And if you know my cousin, his name
oh
is
wow.
Johnny. He if you see him, he's a chill dude. Just drinks, have fun, relax. You don't see him doing. He's not out there. Crazy. But he sees the
Hmm.
trampoline. He gets on there. He's jumping around. He's like,
Mm, the
we're
spirit
egging
hit
him
him.
on. He's like, do a backflip, do a backflip. He's like, easy, easy. He does it. But there's a video
Hmm.
clip. He does the backflip. Good form. He lands on the he lands on the trampoline perfect, right? But his momentum kept carrying him back
Hmm.
because it's a backflip. So the moment he landed, he
Yep.
jumps back and he flies off the
Backwards.
trampoline head first. Yo. Oh
Yo,
my god.
that's America's
Exactly.
funniest
That's
home
what I'm trying to get
videos.
my other cousin to submit
Yo,
that. But
that was the original. That was the original place. Like we felt it was safe.
yeah.
Like you could win some money
Mm,
for it. The people would be in the crowd and stuff like that. So it was people were literally laughing
yeah.
at themselves, and I think that was a great release, man. Shout out to America's
Oh
funniest home
man.
videos.
A lot of
Um,
memes.
before on demand, that's where we had to go. And if you had something funny happen in your family, if you had anything, randomly, we would always say,
Is
man, we
that
should
the
submit that to
original
America's
World
Funniest
Star?
Home Videos.
It was like,
You
oh,
know
you're gonna
what?
be on World's Funniest Home Video.
Hmm. Yes, exactly. Maybe in a way, a much less
Yeah.
messy,
Oh,
version of it,
it's
and
more
like
organized.
anybody could get it. Yeah, it was much more organized, much more family friendly. Anybody could get it too. That was the best part about it. Um, so I think it was like again now, like again, all good things. It's become perverted, in a sense. It's no longer a relief. It's actually like an excuse to point
I
at
mean,
people. In their weakest
exactly.
moments, in their, they don't want this stuff out there. There's a whole different world. Again, we're looking at something that somebody knowingly, put out there, of their own free will and volition. You
Yeah.
know, that's a whole world different than, somebody posting something
Right.
of you when you don't want it to really be out there. Embarrassing moments, your
Yeah.
failures, and things like that. And again, those moments of failure, then that kind of then you being associated with that, and then kind of labeled a failure. Again, that's what we're talking about and discouraging with this because I personally think it's all about what you're trying to do too. Sometimes you big lofty goals, and you're taking big swings, and you're taking big
Hmm.
risks. And so, like one of my favorite movie series, to this day, if it's on, I watch it all the time.
Mm.
Is Rocky. I love Rocky, man. Like the whole series,
Rocky
all of them,
Balboa.
except that first five one. I have it because it's
Oh,
in a collection, but
serious about it.
but the Creed movies, yeah, yeah. But the Creed movies, all that. I just watched it. I think yesterday it was on. Man, shout out to
Mm.
Michael B. Jordan. They had a little marathon on. Keep watching them. But the whole thing about those movies is it's not about necessarily winning. It's about overcoming, great odds or whatever. Going 12 rounds, the distance with a
Mm.
heavyweight champion when you're, supposed to be washed up and people stop believing in you. You still believing in yourself and having people around
Yep.
that believe in you,
That team.
and hey, can take the distance to eventually get that win.
Yep.
You know, it's the adventure, it's the setup. The hero's journey. That I think that's what this life is really about.
And that eye of
And
the tiger.
and I think in the eye of the
Dun,
tiger, the thrill of the
dun, dun,
fights,
dun.
rising up to the challenge of our lives.
Was it Rise Up?
Yes, that's like a secular hymn or something
That
like
song is
that.
something to me though.
Right?
I hear the first couple chords of
For
that song,
real, man.
I'm ready to go. You hear the first guitar,
Rising
it
up.
just dun. That pause, dun dun dun. Oh man, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to
Yes.
fight.
And
Whatever I'm doing, I'm ready. I'm ready. I hear that beat.
mm-hmm. Yes. Yo, I love that stuff, man. There's a show out there on Apple Talk called Ted Lasso. Again, a guy that people are trying to, he's taking L's. You know what I'm saying? People poking fun of him, but you can't get him down. He's resilient, and his resiliency is willingness to keep getting back up and coming back at you. You know how he
Hmm.
wants to. not letting other people affect how you're gonna do things, man. So I just love
Yeah.
that, not just the underdogness, but it's the way that you do things too, doing stuff in a dignified way, finding meaning, in your suffering and dignity in your
Yes.
pain. I spoke about that on social as well, man. That's so important because again, those moments where you are going through something, where you're in a low moment, I kind of think of when people do those before and after pictures when they're doing a weight loss
Mm.
journey or something.
Yep.
You know, they would probably be very embarrassed to show those before pictures, but they're confident in what they're gonna have afterwards. Or now that they have it, bam! Now it's so much
Right.
easier to go ahead and show that, to show where you've come from. You know, so that I think that's a visual way that we see all the time, where people like, okay, here's my L, here's my loss, but actually it's a lesson, and this is what got me to here. And we love to see that. That's one of the most popular things on social media. So is
It
workout
is.
stuff, weight loss stuff, workout stuff. Fitness journeys. We love following those
It's
things along
motivational, man.
because it's
It,
about,
it
yeah, it's
puts it makes
motivational.
you
There you go, all that
it gives you
motivational stuff.
a sense of, yo, if this person
It's
could do it,
motivation.
I could do it. Like, I mean, even myself,
Hmm.
guys. I was a big fella myself. I was 220 pounds.
Big
I'm down
Mino,
160. Not by choice. Don't get me wrong. We'll
Slim.
tell that story in another episode.
That's next week.
But yeah, man, and it's all about having the right people around you, a supportive team, people that believe in you just as much as you
Hmm.
believe in yourself. And
Hmm.
you just gotta be able to have that right mindset. And if you do take a L,
Hmm.
learn from it. Take that opportunity to learn from your mistakes, learn what you did wrong, and improve on it.
Hmm. That's right, man. Rocky had it. Rocky had Mickey.
Mickey and
And
Adrian.
Adrian, his girl believed
Yes,
in him. That's right,
yo, that's like,
Adrian. His
yo.
girl believed in him. Mickey believed in him. Then after
How many of
Mickey
y'all
died,
named Adrian
Apollo believed
out
in
there
him.
listening to us?
You feel me?
No, some of us inspired.
You're
Yeah.
named after her. Yeah, yeah. No, we got to again. A team is so important in that support system, and so that's why again, shout out to us, our fam, not the friend of the show, but the fam,
Yes, Stephen
Steve
Moore,
Moore,
4
man.
years of sobriety.
Through
Yo,
exactly,
round of
man,
applause.
for
I'll
his
clap for
sobriety
that.
and
I'll clap for that. That's
yeah,
man. Yo, Steve. Just a message to Steve
that's
from
amazing.
moreandworsetees.com. Congratulations on 4 years, brother, with sobriety, man. I know it hasn't been
Hmm.
easy, but you're doing it, and continue to
Hmm.
inspire people and continue to do what you do.
Doing the dang thing. For sure, for sure. I definitely, and the thing about his story that is so inspirational, and that's what I said in the future show, we got to have Mrs. Moore on.
Yes,
We got to talk to the support
yes,
system. As you say, that's what gets you through it because, if you listen to that episode, what would really hit me, and what I hope don't get lost on people, when he started to say, bro, it took me
yes.
3 years to finish a 3 month
That's wild.
program, the 90-day thing. Took him 3 years. So he
Kept at
kept
it, man.
failing basically at it. Yeah, he kept, but he did, kept
Yes.
at it.
And the support comes in
And I think
handy.
that's so
Support is big
powerful.
in those
Hmm.
situations, and he talks about it in the last episode, guys. And it if those of you that struggle with addiction and stuff, you might want to give it a listen, man. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, takes patience, and during that time, you learn yourself a lot about yourself. And he
Hmm.
tells us that story, and we look forward to hearing from him again and his wife, who's been I want to say a big part in him being that
Hmm. Huge.
sober for 4 years, man. That's great.
Hmm. Yeah, man, that's definitely because you got to be on one accord. You got to be in a household where people
Hmm.
support that, for real. So again, we're definitely gonna be touching on that later because again, the support system, the connection, the relationships. Because again, life is about relationships.
Right.
So the way I look at it, that's so inspirational. He's been 4 years sober, but it took him 3 years, to of failing to get there. So again, he failed for three, but he got up
Yes.
four. You feel me? That's what I'm saying. That's called overcoming it. For every year that he was down, maybe down on himself. Now, hey,
Yeah.
he matched a year of being sober, and now he's up. Now it's all positive
Yeah.
from here. What I'm saying, that's I think that's very powerful. That kind of speaks to me, man, and it's something I hope speaks to you all as well, because it can seem like, again, especially when you have years, once you keep on, it's like, dang, this thing isn't working season after season. It really is easy to give up. It's the easiest thing
Yeah.
to do, but do you have that enough faith in yourself to believe that, hey, man, this is really for me. This is something that I can do, and do you have the compassion to try?
Exactly.
You know.
And I just want to say this before we wrap it up here. Uh, People that if you're taking L's and you're feeling like a failure, just know that there's people every day fighting back, not giving up. So you're not
Hmm.
alone in the fight. There's other people struggling, and just struggle together, and we can make it through. So learn from your mistakes, allow the failures to learn about yourself, and then just grow. Just trust the process. Just know that you got people behind you.
Trust the
Yes,
process.
trust the process.
Yeah, no Sixers.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. But
and that's this week. That will conclude this week here with failure.
hmm
Next week, guys, we're gonna be talking about physical health and how it impacts you mentally as
hmm
well. You gotta give that same energy. You put the
hmm
time in for your physical health, put the same into your mental. So other than
hmm
that, for me, for this week,
yeah.
we'll see you guys next week. You got anything else for them, Eric?
Um, no, man, just hey, another great show. It's always a pleasure doing this with you, bro. And thank you all for listening. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we do appreciate that. And we will see you next week. This episode of the Consider Your Mind podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. For new listeners who may not know, Consider Your Mind started from my own personal mental health journey that began with me seeking the help of a therapist. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't even have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. And as a special offer to Consider Your Mind listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/consideryourmind. That's better, HELP.com/consideryourmind. See you next week.